This is the Kintyre Way, and you would think it had been made for a gravel bike. It's a good walk and can be a great gravel ride. With local knowledge and advice, we've tackled a route largely faithful to the original and finding new ways around previously unrideable sections.
That's the path through there.
It's an ideal bikepacking introduction, with 3 days wild cycling, returning to towns and villages each night. Apparently this is lovely in nice weather. We've made a downloadable GPS track and recommended some great places to stay on your ride. Which means if the next 3 days go to plan, we'll end up with the Kintyre gravel bike way. Like a long breakwater sheltering the Firth of Clyde, Kintyre has a unique feel. The narrow bottleneck of land is the northern boundary, and it's in the town of Tarbert we start.
We're from Tarbert, down here, all the way down, Gambleton and then ending in Macklehanish.
The walker's Kintyre Way begins with a steep, narrow climb out of the town. Almost every cyclist would have to push. Sean knows a different start, which involves a short road ride, then turning off and riding up through a holiday park. So how do you know about this alternate start?
Well, back in 2017, they put on a gravel race here, and this is where they started, just to sort of avoid the bit from Tarbert at the start, which is really unbikeable. And that's how I discovered this, and it's great.
So we are coming up now on the real Kintyre Way. Footpath down there. If you come out of Tarbert, you'd probably be pushing up that. We've done 5 miles, less than 5 miles, 4.5 on road and forest. All in all, a much better start. Good idea, Sean. It's just short sections like that we've tweaked to make this route more rideable, or at least rideable in good conditions, which clearly we are not having today. If you think we're carrying a lot, there's kind of a reason for that. We're aiming to do 2 different videos and we are staying out for 6 days. So we need a bit more stuff. And in addition, I've got 6 cameras, including a drone, and all their charging equipment with me. And that takes a lot more space. Oh, that looks a bit muddy. Yeah, I'm gonna push. If ridden over 3 days, each day contains a zig and a zag, 2 quite distinct sections each day that cross and then recross the peninsula. I'm finding the first one tough going, and I know this afternoon's will be harder. We're on the East Coast Road now at Llaneg, a popular cycling route which links with the ferry from the Isle of Arran. We'll return this way on Sustrans Caledonia Way, but for now we're tackling the second, tougher climb into the wild heart of Kintyre. And wild it is. The route is well waymarked, but it surprises me just how lonely this place feels. I was going to say, are you finding this quite different to your normal biking?
Yeah, well, in terms of handling and stuff like that, the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, not as much as I actually thought. Yeah, so it's not too bad. There's not as much weight, or it doesn't feel as much as weight I thought it would be on the bike. It's good. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Apparently this is lovely in nice weather. In dry conditions, perhaps I'd be able to ride this as easily as Sean can. This afternoon, I do a lot of pushing.
Yeah, but I think we got it in the worst of conditions. You know, it was wet, underfoot, there was rain coming down, it was very attritional.
I'm just starting to think I underestimated the Kintyre Way when my back wheel skids and I'm off. Didn't hit anything, but I landed on my ribs and it really winded me. Hopefully we'll be all right. I think we've got about 16 miles to go today. Oh, really sore. Anyway. Lone on the west coast is the obvious end to this stage, and we skip the section along the shoreline.
So the actual Kintyre Way goes along the shorefront here on the beach. It is rideable, but you have to find that strip of sand that's firm enough to do that.
After a coffee here, we belted down the road. The sun came out and lit up the views across to the Isle of Gigha and dried us out on our way to the B&B.
We think we've got a great place, and all it is an extra 6 miles down this road, and it should be worth it.
Going a little off route yielded dividends in this case.
That's all right.
They even left us some food. I didn't expect it to feel quite so exposed in the middle. It's not that big, you know, going from one side to the other. It's going to be an up and over, probably on a track. But actually it really felt, you know, like you were in the middle of Ben Alder Forest.
Yeah. Wait till you get to day 3.
Oh, really? Day 1 took us from Tarbert up and over to Skipness and Llaneg, then up and over back to the west coast at Lone. Today it's up and over again to Carradale on the east coast, then a harder up and down into Campbelltown.
The Kintyre Way from Tarbert to Campbelltown has quite a repetitive nature to it, in terms of you climb, you traverse and you descend. So between Tarbert and Campbelltown there's really 4 of those sections. We're currently on the 3rd one, climbing from Lone over to Argyll.
Sean's going well, but I'm suffering a bit after that fall.
I couldn't sleep on my right side last night, so I've either got bruised or cracked ribs, but the only treatment for that is painkillers. Oh, and not exercising, so that's not going to happen.
This is a modern industrial area. At first we're riding through a timber factory, then it's a green power station. Fortunately, there's excellent single track running down to the east coast. We strongly recommend fueling up for the section ahead, which is one of the hardest, and there are a few good lunch stops in Carradale. We chose the cafe in the impressive grounds of Torresdale Castle. I'll list all the places we used in the resources page with a link in the video description.
Right, so tell me what our choices are here.
So Kintyre Way goes left here, and then shortly after this there's a grassy ascent which is probably unbikeable on a gravel bike, and then it drops into Ifferdale and then back up again. We're going to stick on this trail here that goes straight. This joins up to a wind farm trail, fairly new wind farm trail, and it's much better gravel biking.
That fairly new trail is in fact so new it's not on any maps yet.
That's the path through there.
It's easy to get lost, so we did.
I don't know if you can see that, Sean's up ahead getting some advice from the guys in the wind farm.
Well, interesting what that guy said. He said look, there's no path going through there, but there's 2 bikers ahead of us. So unless, well, I'm assuming they know something we don't. I do think that was that left turn though.
It was, and we've edited the GPS track to make it as accurate as we can. Back on the Walker's Kintyre Way, there's a beautiful stretch of fast, flat gravel past Lusa Loch.
It's kind of amazing how the quality of this ride has changed really. You've got the industrialness back there of the trees and the timber factory, then of course overlaid on that you've got the wind farm which is still being built. Just escape from that, you're here and it feels so different.
There's a long tarmac descent into Campbelltown, which has 2 things I'm particularly interested in right now. The first is this famous hotel, which year after year wins awards for its whiskey collection. But before that, Campbelltown's backpacker hostel, where we both need to get dried out and cleaned up, or no bar will let us through its doors. We have company for day 3 from the Kintyre Bike Recycling Project. Refurbishing and selling bicycles is James McNair.
The main thing is to keep the bikes out of landfills and keep people using them, especially like after COVID last year with everyone getting on bikes. There's not many bikes you can buy. It's really helping more people get access to bikes, keeping more bikes circulating really.
All morning the Kintyre Way is on a road, and a hilly one too. Sean and James are setting quite a pace.
I've decided I'm a bit of a sucker for punishment. Not only am I riding with one of Scotland's top extreme triathletes, we're riding with a lad who's young enough, we've worked out, to be my grandson.
And the real challenge will come in the afternoon. Before that, we visit the southern tip of Kintyre and the famous Munneroy tea rooms.
So the sit-in cafe is shut at the moment, but we've got some fabulous takeaways.
To eat in the equally fabulous shelter of a lavatory block, still the view to Ireland is impressive. We've ridden from the top of Kintyre, crisscrossed the high central ground of the peninsula, and followed a small road from Campbelltown around to Kintyre's south end. Our final section will head up again into wild country before dropping to the finish at Machrihanish. This is our biggest deviation from the walker's Kintyre Way.
Oh no, we've got a stampede! Oh my goodness.
The route has been devised by James, and Sean can compare it to the original he's ridden.
Some of it, as you found out, Simon, is on the limit of riding, but it is rideable. The actual Kintyre Way, though, is not rideable from Southend up. So far, so good.
So we've got a nice, rocky, quite a technical and a gravel bike descent, which will take us down to an old farmsteading, which is now just a ruin. But it's a very nice scenic valley, so it might be a lunch stop.
I wish you could see Simon's face when James said technical descent on gravel.
5 minutes later, it was Sean looking worried after losing his GoPro on that rough stuff. So it turned out we all had to walk the track, searching for it. This is Glenadale, one of the most beautiful, lonely glens on our whole ride. The ruined farmsteadings mean there's a track all the way out, and the riding is excellent.
I don't know if you can see that on my Garmin. No roads, no tracks anywhere. Yeah, there's one there. There's the one we came up. And there's the one we're going down. Good, isn't it?
James's local knowledge is really helping.
That there, to me, looks great. But James says it's a dead end. So we've just come down this bit here. And we're going to go over here. There's a little cut through onto another road.
And a fabulous swooping descent to Machrihanish at the end of the Kintyre Way.
Well done.
We're done. We made it. We made it.
The place is geared more to golf than gravel, but it is a wonderful spot with a 6-kilometre beach and plenty of places to stay. Ours was run by a family of cyclists.
If you think you might fancy cycling this Kintyre gravel bike way, then take a look in the video description. You'll find GPS tracks, and I'll also put in there some resources for places to stay and places to eat. And if I get myself together, I might be able to do a blog post that pulls it all together. If you found it useful, it would be absolutely brilliant if you'd subscribe, please. Hit the bell notifications, and if you could give us a thumbs up, that would be wonderful. And take a look at our channel. You might find more things you like. Until next time, goodbye.